Yo, what's up guys, Vojt here. In today's video, I got something. I don't really know what's it gonna be about. I don't know what it is going to be about. ChatGPT versus DeepSeek make a hard game by Game Cook, so I'm assuming it's like AI generated games. The entire point of the video is to make you laugh. Alright, so some people were not pleased with the videos. He probably said something not very nice.
Sure you've
I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he will say, yeah, DeepSeek, Chinese AI, something like ChatGPT, but like 10 times less of a budget and basically same, if not better.
all heard about DeepSeek recently, but if you live under a rock, DeepSeek is basically this AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT, but with a twist. It's made by China. Some people have even come to believe that DeepSeek is even better than ChatGPT itself. But today, I'm gonna put that into a test. ChatGPT and DeepSeek make two different horror games of their choice, meaning the entire games will be generated by the two chatbots, from the idea to the game design and all the way to the last line of code. And we'll be judging these based on their level design, how good and consistent the game feels, and lastly, which is the most scary. So, I started off with ChatGPT and asked him to come up with a horror game idea. And he recommended me to make an office-themed horror game. Oh, hold on there, brother. You're the one who's making all the game. Anyway, this game is going to be called The Last Shift. Then he suggested he could make the prototype and then told me that he would make the code mechanics of the game and send me the project files, and I was shocked. There was no way he could have done that. No way. At least not in the free version, which, spoilers, he actually couldn't. So I quickly made a blank Unity project and called it The Last Shift.
Sorry.
While we're waiting for Unity to open, let's go ahead onto DeepSeek and see what he can do. Okay, first impressions, it's literally a clone of ChatGPT. At least on the front-end part, which is actually pretty smart. I don't complain. Then I asked him to make a horror game for me, and this is how it responded.
What does it mean?
He came up with this concept, Whispers in the Dark. A game set in an abandoned mansion where you're a detective investigating something that whispers. However, the mansion is not a game. Blah blah blah. It suggested that would make a game as expensive and as good as Resident Evil 1. Which then I reminded him that the game has to be simple and I don't want to suffer the fate of talking to a Chinese for that long. And then he came up with another idea called The Last Light. Wait, that's awfully familiar. Are you two the same guy behind there? A game where the player gets lost in a forest and randomly decides to enter a house/cabin to stay the night. But guess what? The cabin is f***ed up with psychological bullshit. Then you find this lantern that you have to keep it on by finding fuel in the house, or else... ChatGPT's project is now open and I asked him to make the basic first-person player and camera movement, which then he quickly suggested that we'd better make a bean first. And for the first time in my life, I did not feel any amount of guilt from copying an entire script from somewhere else without even bothering to read it. And just like that, we have a functioning bean with a flashlight. Then I created DeepSeek's project and asked him to make the same basic stuff for his game, which he suggested would start with a bean. Then I copied and pasted all the code and I don't think that's functioning. So I asked him to fix the camera and it works now. We also have a lantern that goes dim by the time. On to the level design. I asked ChatGPT to design the layout of the office game it suggested me, and it came up with this, which is not the best level layout I've ever seen, but it definitely is one of the worst. So using some simple boxes, I managed to replicate the level he designed in Unity. While on DeepSeek's side, things didn't look as well. I asked him to make a diagram of the level and it responded like this. So I asked him again, and this time it designed an even worse level than ChatGPT's. But since it's the chatbots who have to make the entire game, I didn't correct anything and designed a placeholder layout for the last light as well. Then I found these two assets from the same guy that fits both of these games. I feel lucky. Then inside the last shift project, I replaced the placeholder boxes with the models and baked some lights. And ChatGPT on the other hand made me the script for door interactions.
So it's like giving you scripts, you put them in the engine and it just makes the game. How does it work? I don't know.
On the other side, I pretty much did the same thing. ChatGPT decided that the game goes like this. You are in a security room of the office, and all out of a sudden, you see this ghostly figure that looks like a woman. But then, when you go ahead to see who's doing the cringe prank, just like any other woman noticing that you're approaching them, she disappears. But you still keep going forward and take a left into the break room and see a locked door. So you turn back and this time check the other path which leads you to the abandoned main office. As you check all the desks, you come across this guy's desk who has pictures of your mom. I mean, you stumble upon this guy's desk which has a note saying it sees you. Then you hear the sound of a door being unlocked. So you go ahead and check the door and see that this time it's open and you go through it. Or not, that needs to be fixed. While on the other side, you start from the front door of the house which you just came through, but you see that it's locked. You're like, oh my god, who set up this trap? And as you're confused, this guy pops up from the darkness and shines a light upon your questions. You see this lantern with a note right beside it telling you to keep the light on. So you pick it up by pressing E and go check the next room which has this locked wardrobe inside. So you check the kitchen and see a key. So you pick it up, this time by just going close to it. You can also walk into a fuel can to pick it up and refill like your Doom, lantern. Right? But the problem here is that there are only 3 items to pick up in this game and you have to pick them up all in different ways. That's called inconsistency. So DeepSeek, you've got a negative point. Then you go ahead and open the closet to get the key to outside and leave. One of the most important things in a horror game is the enemy AI. It determines whether your game is good or not. So on ChatGPT's side, you remember this door that we couldn't get through? Well, it's fixed now. And it takes you to this room where the exit door is. But of course it's f***ing locked. So you check the room and find this lever. You pull it and the door unlocks. But this is where the ghostly figure comes in. So I asked ChatGPT to make the enemy AI and it did a pretty decent job, I'm not gonna lie. And with that, if you manage to escape the ghost, you finish the game. But as delightful ChatGPT's game was, on DeepSeek's side, things weren't going so well. The chatbot explained that the entity that haunts you in this game only appears as the light of the lantern goes off. And when it reaches 0, you die. But then, when I asked him to make the AI of it, it proceeded to make an average AI that looks just like ChatGPT's. And when I reminded the idiot of the mechanics he just mentioned, he went broke. You know what? That's fine. The game's so easy and so unbalanced, I don't even think you'll ever see the entity. So, in general, DeepSeek's concept of a horror game was better. 2 points for him. In terms of game design, they both sucked. But DeepSeek somehow managed to suck even more, so a minus point to DeepSeek. And overall, as cliche as ChatGPT's game was, it was also more scary and more of a complete game, so 2 points to ChatGPT. I don't know if either side would fight better if I told them they were competing each other, but strange, nonetheless, the conclusion of this video is, if you're a beginner in game dev, don't fully rely on any AI on making a full commercial game. It just won't work. Plus, making a full commercial game as your first project is not a good idea in general either. But you know what is? You
get out of here.
Oh, is it HIO? It is. It's like the store. It's like the web page where they put the games right for free, or even in some cases for money. Anyways, ChatGPT versus DeepSeek make a horror game. I don't know what this comment is about. It's probably Chinese people were mad. I don't know because I feel like he wasn't really targeting anyone, so I'm pretty confused, not gonna lie. Yeah. But yeah, man, original in the description. Now bro has to do Grok 3. I don't know that.
This guy's desk who has pictures of your mom.
Mm, mm. That's pretty strange, not gonna lie. Yeah, like why your mom? Anyways, thank you for watching my reaction. See you in the next one. Peace.